During the height of World War II, when the Pacific Ocean became a vast battleground of steel fire and determination, one American aircraft carrier earned a reputation which blurred the lines between myth and military history. The USS Lexington was declared to have sank so many times that her reappearances became a source of both dread and confusion. Many men lived aboard her. It is no wonder that this aircraft carrier, now a museum, is known as being one of the most haunted places in the US. Hi, this is Colin from the History Pilgrim. I hope you've been enjoying my videos and I'd be interested to hear your comments. Be sure to like and share with a friend. I have another interesting story for Halloween season. I hope you enjoy. The story of the USS Lexington begins with the construction of the first ship to bear the name, which was built in Quincy, Massachusetts in 1941. The Battle of Coral Sea, fought from May 4th to May 8th, 1942, marked a focal point in the Pacific theater of World War II, and highlighted the strategic importance of aircraft carriers in modern naval warfare. At the time of the battle, the Japanese Navy sought to secure Port Moresby in New Guinea to expand their influence into the South Pacific. The U.S. Navy deployed two aircraft carriers, one of them being the first USS Lexington, and the other the USS Yorktown. The stage was set for the first carrier versus carrier naval battle in history, where ships would engage in combat primarily through the aircraft they carried. The USS Lexington's aircraft launched strikes on the Japanese carrier Shoho, sinking it in what became the first major American aircraft victory in World War II. However, the battle also exposed her to risks. On May 8th, the ship became a target of the Japanese. She sustained multiple bomb and torpedo hits, causing severe fires and structural damage. Several torpedoes hit the ship's starboard side, causing extensive flooding and structural damage. The attacks caused immediate chaos aboard the ship. Fire spread rapidly, fueled by aviation fuel stored in her aircraft. Crew members rushed to contain the fires and help injured crew members. Additional bombs hit the ship's fuel tanks, which intensified the inferno, creating a deadly mix of heat, smoke, and shrapnel. The battle took a heavy toll. Over 200 sailors died. With the sinking of the first USS Lexington, a new Essex-class aircraft carrier was commissioned in her honor, at the Quincy shipyard in Massachusetts. Throughout the war, the Lexington fought in nearly every Pacific campaign, from the Marshall Islands to the Philippines and Okinawa. Her aircraft launched relentless bombardments on Japanese ships and airfields, while her anti-aircraft guns fended off wave after wave of kamikaze attacks. The Japanese had confirmed she sank so many times, only to be proven wrong, that they began to refer to her as a ghost ship. In December 1943, while off the coast of the Marshall Islands, the Lexington was struck by a Japanese torpedo. It smashed into her, igniting massive fires that threatened to consume the ship. The incident killed 40 crew members and injured hundreds more. Smoke poured into the sky, and for many it seemed the blue ghost would finally meet her end. Yet the Lexington did not die. Following the attack, the USS Lexington was escorted by the USS New Orleans to Pearl Harbor for repairs. The carrier was further escorted to the Puget Sound shipyard in Washington state for further repairs, and was back up and running again in several months. By early 1944, the USS Lexington served as a mobile air base, which assisted greatly in the destruction of Japanese strongholds to cover American landing forces. Despite being hit by kamikaze pilots in November 1944, she was repaired yet again and swiftly returned to combat. After World War II, she was upgraded for jet aircraft operations, and later became a training ship docked in Pensacola, Florida. Thousands of sailors and naval aviators during the Cold War spent time aboard her, and began to experience strange occurrences. Many crew members reported seeing a man in 1940-style uniform, walking along the hangar deck at night before vanishing. Maintenance workers late at night described hearing footsteps echoing through empty corridors or feeling sudden chills. When she was finally decommissioned in 1991, after more than 48 years of service, she was the longest-serving aircraft carrier in American naval history. Today she rests as a floating museum in Corpus Christi, Texas. One of the most beloved tour guides at the museum is a young man named Charlie, known for being very handsome and having striking blue eyes. Guests describe him as courteous and full of interesting facts. The odd part is when visitors thank staff for the excellent tour guide dressed in period costume, they were told there was no one who met that description working that day. Charlie is believed to be the ghost of a young enlisted sailor who joined in his late teens or early 20s. Like many of his peers, he may have come from a small town or coastal city, driven by a mix of patriotism, economic opportunity, and a desire for adventure. Enlisting in the early 1940s would have placed him squarely in the generation of Americans who experienced wartime rigor, constant training, and the uncertainty of naval service in the Pacific theater. The legend of Charlie has become one of the most enduring tales tied to the USS Lexington. Staff have reported hearing the clanking of boots aboard the ship when no one is around. In one night, watchmen even swore he saw a young man in a naval uniform vanish through a locked hatch. Among the many areas aboard the USS Lexington, the theater in particular is known for being a focus of strange activity. Once a space where sailors gathered for briefings, films, and performances, it is believed to be an area of the ship with strong emotional energy. Visitors and staff alike report hearing footsteps and low murmurs when the room is pitch black and empty. One visitor reported seeing a sailor dressed in World War II uniform, seated in the balcony up above. Others have reported chairs which scrape across the floor on their own, and doors which close and open without cause. Some of the activity might stem from the theater's historical use during emergencies. It was one of the few places where sailors all gathered for emergency drills and entertainment. Another strange occurrence reported in the theater is the sight of a shadow-like figure walking across the stage. Among the many areas aboard the USS Lexington to have become a focus of ghost stories, few are as unsettling as the sick bay. Once the heart of medical care on this floating city, it is where countless sick and injured sailors retreated. Staff and guests alike report frequently hearing unexplained sounds in the sick bay. Doors and small compartments have been heard creaking open and shut, sometimes even when the ship is empty. The soft hiss of medical equipment has been heard, and some have reported the sensation of their arm tightening, as if someone is checking their pulse. Occasionally, witnesses describe a shadowy nurse who vanishes through the walls. During World War II, the sick bay on the USS Lexington was a place of countless deaths. Sailors injured in battle were often treated here under harrowing conditions, where medical staff worked tirelessly to save them. It is no wonder that this is one of the most haunted parts of the ship. Today, the USS Lexington is docked in Corpus Christi, Texas, where it is preserved as a floating museum. Visitors to the USS Lexington can explore nearly every inch of the ship. The flight deck stretches above where aircraft were once launched into combat, which offers panoramic views of Corpus Christi Bay. Inside, crew quarters, officer cabins, and the engine room provide an immersive glimpse into the daily lives of sailors. Beyond traditional tours, the USS Lexington offers ghost tours, which explore the ship's more sinister side. Tours go through areas such as the sick bay, officer quarters, and the theater. The USS Lexington today serves a dual purpose. It is both a museum celebrating U.S. naval history and a venue for exploring the mysteries of the past. The blend of history, education, and supernatural activity ensures that the USS Lexington remains a compelling destination to visit where the spirits of the past linger. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to stay tuned for more Halloween videos. Sincerely, the History Pilgrim.